In modern times, Morrowind is ruled by five great houses: House Lalu, I know that one, House Redrun, House Telvanni, House Indoril, and House Drez. Great House's culture is partly defined by its roots in ancient Dunmer ritual clans, and partly by later imperial influences from other Western cultures. The Great House culture is only one of the native Dunmer cultures in Morrowind. The other native cultures, the Ashlander culture, is a nomadic barbarian culture largely untouched by imperial influence. Yes, Ashlanders, they're wild elves or wild dark elves. Right. It's kind of interesting. Reading this reminds me a lot of the Drow. If any of you know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, or the Forgotten Realms, to be more precise. R.A. Salvatore wrote a lot of books concerning the Drow, like the Dark Elf of that universe, and it's very similar. I guess it kind of makes sense in the sense that, well, they're both Dark Elves. It's like dwarves, like they're always short and stubby and with huge beards, and in some lore, you know, they always, in some lore, they specify stuff like as they become greater dwarves, their beards get bigger and they get respect out of their beards. And if you shave it off, then you either a disgrace or you're being disgraceful or whatever. And it's like that for like all fantasy realms. Like all dwarves are similar, and I'm thinking, well, this is the same thing with the Dark Elves. Is that the Drow live? Well, they live underground, so well, they kind of live like in this is a big city, so I'm thinking this is the metropolis of the Dunmer, and you know, everything's inside. So I guess you can make a parallel there. And they all, like, they're ruled by houses, and you know, they favor the god of Loth, or whatever you pronounce that. And same thing that happens here is that if your house is accused of being is accused for treason, then all the other houses come together and they destroy that house. So I kind of like the fact that I'm reading this, and it's not too far from home in the sense that I'm not a regular Dungeons and Dragons player, but I do know some of my lore in Dungeons and Dragons, mostly out of the books, because I do read R.A. Salvatore, and this is very interesting, and maybe that alone will make me like the Dunmer just a little bit more, because so far their attitude is, I'm sorry, but not very great. I can understand, though, you know, some weird stranger, you know, some awesome mage coming in their lands for no reason, and yada yada yada. So yeah, ooh, what do you barter? Anyways, I thought it was interesting. Alright, you're a Muratong. You can train, though. Yes, I figured. Okay. Maybe if you could train like in personality or speechcraft, I would probably invest a little bit more in that. So, is that it? Maybe I forgot to speak to him about... Hey. Hey. Yes, Nerevarine cult. Here we go. To understand the Nerevarine cult, you must understand the history of the Ashlanders. Nerevar means something very different to the Ashlanders from what he means to Dunmer of the Great Houses. You should also know about the persecution of the Nerevarine in the legacy of the false incarnate. For the Nerevarine cult is the heart of the ancient council conflict between the nomadic Ashlanders and the settled great houses Dunmer. Here is a summary for Chaos, but ask your question and I'll answer in detail. Well, I guess I could read it a little bit. In the first era, the nomadic Ashlanders and the settled Dunmer clans were much alike, but after the First Council and the formation of the Great Houses, Ashlanders have been steadily forced into the poorest and most hostile lands. Now the nomadic tribes look for the prophesied return of the Nerevar for a restoration of their ancient rights and religious traditions. Huh. The temple treats the Nerevarine prophecies as hearsay, and the temple imprisons and executes heretics unless prevented by imperial law. But since the Nerevarine cult is hostile to the Empire does not interfere when temple persecutes the cults. Ashlanders hate the temple, and particularly the Ordinators, for their ruthless treatment of Nerevarine cultists. So what, Ordinators are like... Are those guards that I saw outside, like with the golden mask and everything? Huh, okay. Well, I think that covers it. Cool. Alright, that was pretty well. I think I'm gonna stop for now. And, I think I made some progress. Not necessarily in terms of quest, but in terms of troubleshooting my own problems and concerning like travel. I learned a lot, I think, finding my way to Vivek City, using the intervention scrolls and stuff like that, getting back into the game, you know, and so I think next time there'll be a little bit more stuff happening, but you know, today was pretty good. So yeah, I think that's it. So until next time.